Good morning, fellas. Blue Gym MMA here. Today we're going to talk about a legend in the game. A man that has been fighting in the hardest division in the UFC for over a decade. Has been at the top of that same very hard division for over half of a decade. The man is a legend. He did pretty well in his last fight versus the champion. And obviously, you already know who I'm talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about Dustin Poirier. Dustin's a legend, man. Before the fight, he was talking about retirement and all that stuff. And people were agreeing with it for the most part, you know. It didn't feel as early before the fight, you know, to have a Dustin Poirier who has been in the game for just so long, right? To see him finally ride off into the sunset and live his life, you know what I mean? I heard a lot of people talk, you know. I'm a fan, so I'm in fan spaces a lot. And a lot of the talk that was going around is, you know, Dustin is not deserving of the title shot, you know, because who he beat? He beat Benoit Saint-Denis after getting KO'd by Justin Gaethje. And I get it, you know, Benoit Saint-Denis, the thing is, the way that Dustin finished him, you know, it might not have been like, oh, that's the guy deserving the title shot, because look at who he beats. But let's be real, Benoit Saint-Denis, it's a style thing. Styles make matchups, and Dustin had a really hard style with Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit is a guy that just pushes forward the whole time and really tries to just take you down the whole night. And that is a problem for Dustin Poirier, you know, because we've seen in fights, he has some issues with grapplers. So before the fight, everybody was like, he has no chance. He's fighting arguably the best grappler in the whole division. And this is who Dustin Poirier decides to fight, you know? Personally, I didn't think that Dustin was going to go out there and have such a good performance. I personally thought that, you know, Islam was going to do his thing, and kind of did. But Dustin also did his thing. And on the back end of that fight, which went 5 hard rounds with Islam finishing him at the end with a submission, Dustin has been called out. He has been called out by many greats. You know, he hasn't been called out by regular guys. He has been called out by actual greats. People that have pedigree, people that have names and championships. That's who's been calling Dustin Poirier out. And let's be real, Dustin's a legitimate star, man. He's a real star. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I truly think that Dustin was the bigger name on 299. And you can see it. You can see it because, if I remember well, 299 sold like 300K. And with Islam, he sold way more than that. They almost doubled that, you know? So it's not great numbers. It's pretty good numbers, you know? By the way, when you go as a title challenger, okay, and you give the champion a good fight, okay, and you lose, usually that just means, oh, you're a good fighter. You know, your name is going to go up. You know, your brand is going to go up. But in Dustin Poirier's case, he's been called out by people in other divisions. You got 2 guys in higher divisions that have been calling him out, and also a guy in the smaller divisions. So, the first one to call Dustin Poirier out, I think we all know this, Volkanovski. Volkanovski is I'm sorry guys, this shit keeps buzzing. Man, I hate this group, man. Shut the fuck up, y'all. Give these niggas. Alright, my bad, y'all. So, the first one to call him out, Alexander the Great Volkanovski, is the one that called out Dustin Poirier. First, after his fight, it was like, Dustin Poirier, I would like to fight him. I don't know how to do Aussie accent. Y'all can teach me or not. I don't give a fuck, honestly. But, so yeah, Volk was like, yeah, let me fight him, you know, to keep myself busy. I don't know about that, man. With that softened chin of Volkanovski, to fight Dustin Poirier right now would be a big mistake. I do think though that because of the way the fight went with Islam Makhachev, you have the opportunity to make that fight happen in a few months, you know, October or November. Because I said before that I need Volkanovski to fight at the end of the year. That chin of his is extremely softened. He's been knocked out twice in a few months. In the past 8 months, he got knocked out twice. And before that, the fight with Islam, he got dropped. The fight with in the fights with Max back in the days, he got dropped. So it's like Volkanovski is a guy that gets dropped a lot, and now you add on the fact that he gets knocked out too. Now it's a really dangerous fight. Although Volkanovski has great boxing, great striking, great kicking, wrestling, overall game, Volkanovski is a much better fighter than Dustin Poirier. But Dustin has the size, much bigger than him. He can definitely go 5 rounds. He can definitely push a pace for 5 rounds. But is he going to be able to beat a Volkanovski? That's a question for another video. But it's a really good fight in my opinion. I think that Volkanovski was onto something when he called out Dustin Poirier. It's still too early for him though. I don't want to see Volkanovski get knocked dead yet again. It's not worth it, bro. It's not it, dog. Now let's move on to the next one. We have one of the greatest fighters of all time, who fought in one of the hardest divisions also, and did not lose until he went on a 15-fight run. That's right, Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is the one that called out Dustin Poirier. That legit surprised me. But thinking about it, it's cool. I like the fight. You know, the thing about the fight that makes it so interesting is that Kamaru is much bigger than Dustin. So Dustin definitely gonna have the speed advantage. Dustin is a better boxer. Although I would give the advantage of the jab to Kamaru. I think Kamaru has one of the greatest jabs in the UFC. It's so underrated, but so well utilized when he does use it properly, you know, when he's not swinging for the fences. I think that happens usually when he has Ngannou in his corner. But anyways, like when he trains with Ngannou and has Ngannou in his corner, I don't know, it's like that savageness takes over him. But yeah, Kamaru is a guy that is he's an African. We're Africans, we're kind of savage, and that's what he shows sometimes. But when he's technical with his jab, he's a really hard guy to beat. He outstruck and knocked out Dustin Poirier's teammate, Masvidal. He whooped his ass the second fight. That thing was not close. But there are a few things, you know, despite the fact that he has dominant wrestling, strong chin, he still has a strong chin. He got knocked out by Leon Edwards. 1 minute left in the fight, after a 5-round grueling affair where he was getting his ass whooped. You know, Leon Edwards was really not close to winning that fight, and Hail Mary shot finished him. That's what happens. And the second fight, you know, we saw in the second fight, like he took a few head kicks and he was not phased at all. And Hamza Chimaev hit him with a few good shots. He was never phased. So his chin is definitely still there. He has dominant wrestling, strong pace, and he has a great team and one of the best IQs in the game. So does Volkanovski, by the way. I did not mention that for Volkanovski. Volkanovski's IQ is insane. But so is Kamaru. So, despite all of that, you know, and despite the fact that I do think that Kamaru is a bad matchup for Dustin Poirier, I do see how it could be an interesting fight, because Kamaru has really bad knees now, so he doesn't wrestle nearly as much as he used to. He doesn't even push you to the cage as bad as he used to do it. No foot stomps anymore. None of that. You know, he really goes out there, and for most of the time he bangs now. Like, he has no choice. His knees are insanely bad. The guy cannot run. If I'm Dustin Poirier, I'm kicking the hell out of his legs, and let's make it a boxing match. Let's see who's the better guy. You know, you might be bigger than me. You might be in a division higher than me, but we're about the same age, and you have more damage than me. So let's see who has the best boxing. If I'm Dustin Poirier, that's my game plan. Now, moving on to the last one. The guy did not call him out after, but he has been calling him out for years now. You know, former teammate of his, and Masvidal. The man whooped Masvidal's ass as well. Took a punch for it, of course. You know, the guy's been at the top of the division forever himself, along with Kamaru. He has two of the greatest fights of all time with Kamaru Usman. And it's obvious who I'm talking about, and that's Colby Covington. Colby Covington, insane. He has an insane mindset. He goes out there, crazy pace, in your face, wrestles a lot, shoots all day. You know, he just has really bad finishing ability. But that's a good thing, you know. That's what makes this fight a little more interesting. He's probably not gonna finish Dustin Poirier, but he could definitely go out there and punish him for 25 minutes straight and make him look like an amateur. That's the kind of thing that Colby can do. But what we saw in his last fight versus Leon Edwards, I don't know. You know, sometimes with age comes a change of mindset. You know, you become a little softer and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's who Colby Covington is now. You know, you can see by the way he acted with the Yan Gary situation, where he gave so many stipulations that made no sense. You know, like, he's like he didn't want to fight the guy. And in the cage with Leon, it's like he didn't want to fight him either, despite disrespecting his father like that. But is that the new Colby? That's a good question. But if not, if Colby comes with the same mindset, usually when he fights his teammates, his former teammates, Colby goes hard. You can see with the Woodley fight, the Masvidal fight, and I think he fought other teammates. Like, that's Colby. He doesn't give a fuck. So that's who he is. When he's fighting like former teammates or guys that disrespected him, usually he goes really hard. And I think that, guys that he disrespects, actually, because Dustin never disrespected him. Dustin did say he's on site though, years ago. I don't think they came face to face ever since. But I would like to see it in the cage. You know. The insane pace of Colby Covington, definitely something that could make it interesting. Although Colby is a guy that gets hit, you know, he gets hit a lot, and he's a little chinny himself. You know, I would not be surprised to see Dustin Poirier knock him out. But yeah, also Colby is old now, man. He's the same age as all these guys, though. Let's be real, they're all the same age. All the guys that have been mentioned in this video is basically the same age. And yeah, I think it would be great to see some of these guys fight each other, you know. And my last pick, well, the last one that's been calling Dustin Poirier out even before the fight as well, is Conor McGregor. And Conor McGregor, let's be real, let's not make that happen. 3 fights already, 2 fights we saw what happened. Like, in 2 fights, they were 1-1. In the 3rd fight, you can argue a little bit. But let's be honest, guys. I don't know if I want to see that fight again. I would watch it. You know, it's an interesting matchup every time. But how many times can you really repeat a fight? You know what I mean? How many times can you really repeat a fight? This is my opinion. But the Conor fight is more than likely the most competitive fight of all these fights. I think that Volkanovski also. I think that the Volkanovski fight also because of the size difference. But I do feel like the Colby and the Kamaru fights, these are a little, could be a little one-sided. Exactly. So these are the fights. These are the guys that have been calling out Dustin Poirier. And this shows that Dustin really is still a big star in the UFC, one of the biggest names in the UFC, and is probably going to stay like that. And I know Dustin probably is not going to watch this, but Dustin, if you're watching this, which is 100% sure you're not, if the message can get to you at least, bro, keep fighting. 1, 2, 3 more fights at least. As an MMA fan, I love it. I love to see Dustin Poirier match. I love to see Dustin Poirier step in the cage. I love it how the fans react when he's out there. And, you know, I'm a big appreciator of Dustin Poirier. I would like to see him again. And if he has to fight any of these guys, I think the best one, the best one to me would be versus Volkanovski. I would like to see Dustin Poirier versus Volkanovski. I still think that Volkanovski has potential to be one of the top lightweights. We only saw him versus Islam, and the performance of Dustin Poirier and Volkanovski, you know, they both did pretty well versus Islam. Like, pretty well. They did well, you know. Volkanovski did way better. You know, a lot of people thought he won the fight, but Dustin did really well. So I think this fight is the most exciting one. And why not Colby? Colby is the same size as Dustin. Colby could be a 155 right now if he wanted to. He just doesn't want to. And that's pretty ballsy of him. I respect that. So, this is the end of my video. Check out my other content. Like the video. Subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. 'Cause I'm out.